Stop. Don't touch your phone because the first thing you let into your mind each morning becomes the boss of your entire day. Most people don't start their morning starts them. A notification, a message, a headline, and suddenly your heart is racing before you've even stood up. Now here's the uncomfortable truth. Calm people aren't calm because they have an easier life. They're calm because they take control before the world shows up. Picture Marcus Aurelius, an emperor, waking up in Rome, war at the borders, sickness in the streets, politics in his own house. He could have panicked. He had every reason to, but he didn't, because he understood something most people learn too late. If you don't control the first hour, you'll spend the next 10 hours reacting. So he trained a simple morning discipline: silence before noise, choice before demand, a mind that belongs to him before it belongs to everyone else. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the exact stoic sequence calm people use so you stop waking up reactive and start waking up unshakable. Step 1. Win the first minute. Silence before noise. Stop right there. Before your feet touch the floor, before your brain starts negotiating with the day, do one shocking thing. Don't let the world speak first, because whatever enters your mind first takes the throne. Imagine Marcus Aurelius at dawn. Not in a cozy bedroom with a morning playlist, he wakes in a military camp, the air cold reports, waiting people demanding answers. And still his first move isn't panic, it's command. In meditations, he reminds himself that the mind can be trained and the day can be met with intention. Here's the doorway moment in the first minute after you wake. Your mind is soft like wet clay. Touch your phone and you stamp it with noise comparisons, urgency, someone else's agenda. But if you choose silence, you stamp it with ownership. Marcus would say, you have power over your mind, not outside events. That power doesn't begin at noon. It begins before the first notification. So here's the rule. First 60 seconds, no phone, no messages, no headlines. Sit up. Place one hand on your chest, one on your stomach. Breathe slowly and say out loud, if you can, I will meet today on my terms. Reset with me right now. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Say it with me on my terms. Now the story: a messenger arrives early with bad news, another delay, another demand. Most people would instantly react. Marcus trained for this. He didn't try to control the messenger. He controlled the moment inside himself that decides I'm safe or I'm under attack. That is stoicism in one breath. Your peace is not a gift, it's a decision. Practical microtasks: do it tomorrow, set a timer for 60 seconds. In that minute, do only 3 things. Sit up, breathe slow, speak your line. I will meet today on my terms. That's it. 1 minute. But here's the twist: when you win 1 minute, you're no longer begging the day to be kind, you're leading it. Quick recap, say it with me. Silence before noise. 1 minute is your gate. Protect the gate and you protect the city. If you're going to try this tomorrow, comment 1 minute so you commit publicly. Like and subscribe if you want the full Stoic morning sequence. Step 2. Decide your identity before the world assigns one. Here's the trap: no one warns you about the world will try to name you before you even speak. And the moment you wake up, the labels start flying like arrows late behind. Not enough, respond now. And if you accept even one of them, your entire day quietly turns into an apology moving fast. Not because you're focused, but because you're chasing a story you didn't choose. Marcus Aurelius understood this better than most people ever will, because he lived at the center of pressure wars, politics, sickness, responsibility, and yet he refused to let the world define him first, not because he had superpowers, but because he had a practice. In Stoicism, the world controls the weather, but you control the sailor, and the sailor's first job isn't to fight the storm, it's to decide who he will be inside it. That's why Marcus wrote a line that cuts through modern anxiety like a blade. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. That isn't motivational wallpaper. It's a command, a reminder that identity isn't something you discover after the world tests you. It's something you choose and then prove. Because if you don't choose your identity, the world will choose one for you. And the world's identities are always reactive, insecure, hungry for approval, desperate to be seen. Calm people aren't calm because life is easy. They're calm because they refuse to rent their identity to the noise. So right after your first minute of silence, step 2 begins with a single question asked with full seriousness. What kind of person do I choose to be today? Not what do I need to do, not what might go wrong, not how do I look, but who am I choosing to become today? Keep it simple and choose one stoic word: steady, patient, disciplined, kind, courageous, only one. Because one word is easy to remember when stress hits, and write it down on paper, not in your phone, because paper doesn't ping you, and paper doesn't tempt you into 10 tabs and 10 moods. Paper is quiet, and quiet is where identity becomes real. Reset with me: one breath in, hold and out, and say it with me: I choose again, I choose. Because that sentence is the beginning of a calm life. But here's where most people mess this up. They pick a word and treat it like a vibe. And calm doesn't come from choosing a word. It comes from proving the word with a tiny action before 10 a.m. Because your nervous system doesn't believe your intentions, it believes your evidence. So make it a rule before 10 a.m. Prove your word once, and if your word is disciplined, prove it by doing your one stone task for 20 minutes without distraction. One timer, one focus, no negotiation. If your word is patient, prove it by slowing your breath in a rushed moment and choosing not to interrupt, not to snap, not to rush your reply. If your word is kind, prove it by sending one genuine message that asks for nothing back. One thank you, one check-in, one honest compliment. If your word is courageous, prove it by doing the thing you've been dodging: one difficult email, one honest conversation, one first page, one small step toward the scary goal. And if your word is steady, prove it by refusing to spiral when something small goes wrong, dropping the drama, handling the next step, and moving on. Now let it get real. Imagine you walk into school or work and someone says something sharp, not a huge insult, just enough to sting, and the old version of you reacts instantly, defends, claps, back, replays it all day, letting a sentence from someone else hijack your mood. But the calm version of you has already chosen an identity. So you pause, you feel the sting, and you don't obey it. You remember your word patient or steady, and instead of reacting, you respond. Because as Marcus Aurelius wrote, the best revenge is not to be like that, meaning when someone behaves badly, you don't have to become their mirror, you can remain yourself, and that is strength, that is calm, that is power. And here's your midday reset, a simple 45-second check to keep you from slipping back into the world's labels. Take one deep inhale, whisper your word, and ask, what does my word do next? Say it with me right now. What does my word do next? Because that question turns identity into action and pulls you out of the spiral and back into leadership. The world will always try to name you. It's not personal, it's automatic but calm. People don't argue with the world. They name themselves first every morning before the noise begins. So remember the recap: name yourself first, one word, one proof, before 10. And if you're committing to step 2, comment your word and lock it in and stay with me. Because in step 3, we do something that sounds dark but creates freedom. We premeditate obstacles so they can't surprise us. Step 3, premeditate the obstacles so they can't surprise you. I'm going to start with a line that sounds almost brutal but will set you free today. Will not go perfectly, something will go wrong, someone will be difficult, a plan will break. And if that sentence shocks you, you've been waking up with a fragile fantasy instead of a resilient mind. Marcus Aurelius didn't wake up hoping for smooth roads. He trained for rough ones, and that training begins before the first problem appears, because most stress isn't caused by the problem itself. It's caused by the surprise, the moment your brain screams, this shouldn't be happening, and suddenly you add a second pain on top of the first. So the stoic move is simple. Remove the shock in advance, and you keep your power. Or as Marcus reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events, which means you don't negotiate with reality. You prepare your character to meet it. Now reset with me: one breath in, hold, and out, and say it with me: no shock. Again, no shock. Because calm people don't demand life be easy. They demand themselves be ready. Picture Marcus in a camp at dawn, a messenger arriving with bad news before breakfast, an attack, a delay, a betrayal, a complaint, and the average person would take that as a personal threat. But Marcus treats it like weather, real, unavoidable, and not worth panic. He doesn't ask, why is this happening to me? He asks the only useful question, what is mine to control? That question is a weapon, and when you use it, chaos stops being a verdict and becomes a problem to solve. So here's the 1-minute stoic drill for your morning. Say these 3 lines calmly like a commander. Reading the forecast today, something will go wrong. Someone may disappoint me. Plans may break, and then add one final line that locks your identity into action, and I will still act with discipline. Say it with me today, something will go wrong. Someone may disappoint me. Plans may break, and I will still act with discipline. That's not negativity, that's armor, because Seneca warned that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And the goal here is to stop your imagination from being ambushed. Now another reset inhale, 4, hold 2, exhale 6, and as you exhale, repeat your phrase, act with discipline. Because when you rehearse the obstacle loses its power to shake you. Here's the curious part. The brain reacts hardest to unpredictability, not difficulty, which is why the same workload can feel calm one day and overwhelming the next. Surprise multiplies stress and premeditation, deletes surprise. So let's make it practical with an if-then plan, because calm people don't just expect problems. They pre-build responses. If someone speaks sharply to me, then I pause, breathe once, and respond with my virtue word. If I feel rushed, then I slow my breath before I speed my hands. If plans break, then I choose the next best action within 60 seconds. That last number matters, 60 seconds, because reactive people spiral for 10 minutes, 30 minutes, sometimes the entire day. But calm people reset fast. They don't process forever. They adjust and move. Now say it with me, 60-second recovery. Again, 60-second recovery, because this is how you become hard to disturb. Story time? Imagine you're 5 minutes late and the train is delayed, or the internet dies mid-deadline, or someone posts something that hits your pride. The old habit is to panic and perform a mental tragedy. I'm doomed, I'm cursed, this ruins everything. But Epictetus would cut in with a cold truth. It's not things that disturb us. It's the judgments we make about them. And when you see that, you stop feeding the fire. So instead of spiraling, you run the stoic sequence label, the event delay, name what's in your control, my response, choose the next action, send the message switch to offline work, take the next step, and then you breathe and move. Because the obstacle is not an interruption. The obstacle is the training. Reset again, one breath in and out, and say it with me. The obstacle is the way. Because every time something goes wrong and you respond with discipline, you're not just saving the day, you're building the person who can't be shaken. And here's a small challenge to make this real today. Pick one obstacle you keep meeting, rude people, delays, criticism, fatigue, and write a single if-then line for it on paper. Then when it happens, don't act surprised, act prepared. Because prepared is calm and calm is power. Quick recap before we move on. Premeditate removes shock. If then creates control. 60 seconds restores command. And if you're committing to step 3, comment no shock so you lock it in publicly and share this with someone who gets derailed by one small problem. Now stay with me, because step 4 is where everything becomes simpler. Calm people choose one battle, because if you fight everything, you lose to everything. Step 4, choose one battle. Most people lose by fighting everything. The anxious mind wakes up and opens 10 tabs in the brain messages, homework, work, tasks, family demands, drama, goals, worries, and by noon you feel defeated without even knowing what you fought. Marcus Aurelius had more demands than any of us yet. Stoicism is brutally clear: if everything is important, you'll do nothing well, and when you do nothing well, you don't just lose productivity, you lose self-trust, and self-trust is the foundation of calm. So the Stoic move is not to do more. The Stoic move is to do one meaningful thing first before the world starts shouting, because one early win changes your nervous system from panic to command. Reset with me, one breath in, hold and out, and say it with me, one battle. One battle, because when you choose one battle, you stop being hunted by your to-do list and you start hunting the day. Now picture Marcus in Rome, petitions on his desk, soldiers at the border, senators arguing, citizens complaining, And still he understood a rule that can save your morning. Not everything deserves your attention first. He wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." That line isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to clarify you. If your time is real and limited, then distraction is expensive and scattering your focus is a tax you pay in stress. So here's the tool, the one stone. One task chosen deliberately that matters enough to move your life forward and small enough to start immediately. Not 15 tasks, not be productive. One stone you can lift right now. Here's how you pick it in under 30 seconds. Ask, if I did only one thing this morning, what would make the rest of the day easier? Then choose from concrete options like these. Finish the assignment outline, study one chapter, write one page, train for 20 minutes, clean one area, build one skill for 30 minutes and write it down in a single line. Then set a timer. 20 minutes. Not because 20 is magical, but because it's long enough to create momentum and short enough to feel possible even on a hard day. Reset, say it with me, 20 minutes. Begin, because calm people don't wait for motivation, they create motion. Now story time. Imagine 2 mornings. Morning A. You open your phone just for a second, you bounce between apps, you answer messages, you scroll. You remember 5 things you forgot, your mind becomes a crowded hallway, and you call that busy. But it's not busy, it's scattered, and scattered feels like anxiety. Morning B, you protect 20 minutes for your one stone, before any input, no messages, no headlines, no social feed, and when you finish, something subtle happens. Your brain receives proof that you keep promises. That proof is chemistry. It lowers panic and raises confidence. Your day doesn't become perfect, but you become steadier inside it. This is why calm people look calm. They're not carrying 10 unfinished wars in their head. Here's the rule that makes this shocking effective. For those 20 minutes, your only job is to begin, not to finish. Because perfection is a trap that delays action, and action is what builds calm. Marcus would call that living according to nature, doing what is in front of you with discipline, without drama. So when your mind tries to pull you into a second battle, another tab, another task, another worry, you use a stoic phrase like a sword. Do what is in front of you. Reset with me. Say it, do what is in front of you. Do what is in front of you, because that sentence collapses overwhelm into one next step. Now add a practical 45 to 60-second retention reset. You can use mid-work pause. Look at your paper, point to the one stone, inhale once and say, "This is the battle." Then continue. The brain loves clarity. Clarity restores dopamine, and that's how you keep momentum without needing hype. Quick recap before we move on. Choose one battle, write it down. Protect 20 minutes and begin. Calm is built by kept promises, and kept promises are built by small wins done early. Step 5. Response, not reaction training. Most people think calm means never feeling anger, never feeling fear, never feeling stress, but that's not human. Even Marcus Aurelius felt pressure, betrayal, exhaustion, and grief. Yet he trained the one thing that turns emotion from a boss into a messenger, the gap between what happens and what you do next. That gap is where your freedom lives, and once you learn to protect it, you become hard to shake in any room, any argument, any deadline, any bad news. Marcus wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." In other words, the event is real, but your interpretation decides the suffering. And when you react instantly, you don't just respond to the event, you respond to your own story about the event, usually the worst one. That's why a single text can ruin a morning, why a tone of voice can trigger a spiral, why one delay can feel like the end of the world. The world didn't destroy your calm, your untrained reflex did. So here is the stoic drill, 10 seconds that can save an entire day. And I want you to practice it with me right now. Inhale for 4, hold for 2, exhale for 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 1, 2, exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Reset. Say it with me, response, not reaction. Again, response, not reaction. That exhale is not just breathing, it's a signal to your nervous system, I'm in control. Now here's the curiosity twist. Calm people don't use this only when everything is on fire. They train it in small moments because skills built only in emergencies collapse in emergencies. So your practical challenge today is simple and measurable. Practice the pause 3 times. Not whenever you remember, but 3 deliberate reps, like a workout. 1 rep before replying to a message, 1 rep before speaking when you feel annoyed, and 1 rep before switching tasks when your mind wants to escape. Each time to 4, to 6, then ask one question that Marcus would approve of. What would my best self do next? Say it with me. What would my best self do next? That question pulls you out of the emotional current and back onto the shore of choice. And this is where all previous steps connect like a chain. Step 1 gave you silence so your mind isn't invaded. Step 2 gave you identity so you know who you're trying to be. Step 3 removed shock so problems don't ambush you. Step 4 gave you one battle so your confidence has an anchor. And now Step 5 makes the whole system real in real time because the pause is where you choose to live like the person you named yourself to be. If your virtue word was steady, the pause is where you stay steady. If it was kind, the pause is where you keep your tone clean. If it was courageous, the pause is where you do the hard thing without drama. Marcus wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And here's the stoic secret. The quality of your thoughts depends on the quality of your pauses. No pause, no choice. No choice, no calm. So recap with me: 1 breath, then say pause, breathe, choose. Again, pause, breathe, choose. That's the whole philosophy in 3 words. If you want more stoic strategies like this built for real life, subscribe to the channel Making Life Better and watch the next video in this series. And if this helped, like and share it with someone who wakes up stressed, because one calm morning can change an entire week. Now here's the challenge comment. 1 word: steady. If you're choosing calm over chaos tomorrow, what will you protect tomorrow morning, your first 10 minutes or your first hour?